Hi, I'm Courtney.
And I'm Nate. Welcome to the MonoPoly Couple YouTube channel, where we talk about life, love, and relationships. Thanks for joining us today. And so today we're going to talk about polyamory in our everyday life, right? What does that look like? How do we deal with issues with scheduling and all the little boring things that, seemingly go along with it? So that is the topic for today.
So one of the things that I get asked is, how often do you go on dates? I think there's a misconception that I'm going on coffee dates or overnights or, traveling the world with random men at random times. But honestly, it looks pretty normal. So I am on my phone a lot for work, for kids' schedules, being in touch with family that lives overseas. We have a very cellular, technologically connected life. It is what it is. And so I also connect with men online who I'm interested in dating or have already connected with in person. And so then we text and stay in touch and connect that way. So Nate doesn't really know if I'm on my phone talking to a guy or looking at different profiles or swiping or, texting the kids or doing something for work.
And so that was a challenge at first when
Yes.
this sort of all started because, of some concerns over jealousy or just not wanting to be ignored or whatever else it was. And so we essentially had to communicate ways that was going to work for us. And so when we're together, we try to minimize that as possible, of course, like I think most people and most couples try to do. But if Courtney does need to be on her phone for whatever reason, work, relationships, family, whatever it may be, then she just asks, that's it. And I don't really say no. It's just I like to be, again, included in the conversation, right? I just want to feel like I matter. I want to feel like I'm part of it. I just want to understand as well, can I support her? Does she need 20 minutes where nobody's going to bother her or whatever else it may be? But I just don't know, right? So nobody likes to come in and have their partner, I think, just staring at the screen and ignoring sort of anything that they say. So that's been a big thing for us is how do we utilize the phone? And then what does normal sort of schedule and dating look like for you usually?
Yeah. So there are some weeks where I'll have one coffee date a week, or there are times where it's 2 months and I don't have a date. So it really just kind of depends on the type of men that I'm connecting with. If I meet or match with somebody that I really like, and I'm like, hey, I want to go meet this guy. My first dates are always either a coffee date or a walking date. Walking dates are really popular in Germany. Just it's a cultural thing. But I honestly like really low pressure. Just get to know each other, conversations over a meal where I feel trapped and I'm not really sure how long this is going to last or where this is going to go.
Can last a long time. And we live in Europe, where in Europe, meals can last many hours.
Yes. So those are the easy peasy dates, and Nate and I both feel really good about the casual approach to that first date. And so usually if I'm having a date with somebody, I look at our calendar, our family's calendar, when the kids have games or, concerts or whatever it is. Do we have family visiting? And try to schedule it around that. And then according to also whoever I'm meeting as well. But for the most part, there's usually a Tuesday at 12 or a Saturday at 10 where I can, squeeze in a walk or meet somebody for coffee, and it's not very disruptive to anybody's schedule.
Okay. And then, so I think the thing that most people want to know about is when you are in a relationship, right?
Yes.
So again, you tend to only date one other person, right?
Right.
So when you are in a relationship, what does that look like? What does that look like for you? What does it look like for us? How does that go? And this, again, is our example of how it works for us.
Yes.
Everybody can be different, but this is how we do it.
Yes. So when I'm in a relationship with somebody, I'm a big communicator. So we are in contact a lot. We're texting a lot. And if I am on my phone around my kids or around Nate, I will be very hey, I'm doing this for work, or hey, I'm texting boyfriend, whatever his name is. And then depending on where he lives, so the relationships that I've had previously, they have not lived locally. The closest one was 4 hours. And so I would see them every 2 to 3 weeks for about 2 to 4 days at a time. So I would either take the train or drive and spend the weekend or a chunk of time with them during the week, depending on what was best for all three of our schedules. And I'm still in contact when I'm with him, the boyfriend. I'm still in contact with Nate and the kids and everybody else. So I'm not off the grid. I don't just check out of life. I'm still very much tuned in to everything that's happening while I'm also spending time with this other person that I care about.
Yeah, and I think that has worked for us, right? So again, I don't necessarily want all the details and everything, but I want to make sure that she's happy. I want to make sure that she's safe, of course, and whatever she needs. But again, I'm capable of taking care of everything around here. Like I don't, we are very independent, strong people, but we love to be married and love to be together. And so again, it's mostly just about being considered, right? So
Yeah.
for me, that's really important, is that I still feel like I matter and I'm part of the loop, even though she's not physically here. Because again, I travel for work, and Courtney can travel for work or wherever else it is, independent of all of this. And so we know how it's hard to be single parent at home for a brief period of time or whatever else it is. And so it's just about checking in, understanding that there can be struggles and frustrations, and that you may not physically be there, but you can still listen or whatever else it may be. What about when you haven't had a date for a while? Does that change anything?
You mean like a date or relationship? What do you mean?
Yes.
Okay. Why do you ask that question?
Because you tend to do a little better, and just you seem more fulfilled when you're with
Yes.
somebody. So how do you manage sort of your emotions when you're not dating anybody, and how can that affect our schedule and our day-to-day basis? What else do you think?
Yes, it's true. So I believe that I'm wired to be polyamorous. And so I do best when I have Nate and I have one other partner. And so to me, that I feel like my most connected, my most grounded, my most authentic self. And when I'm not in that place, I kind of feel a little imbalanced. And so there have been times where I've gone several weeks without having a date or somebody who I have feel like I have a good connection with. Because I get asked out a decent amount, but I'm really selective in the type of guy that I want to build something with or get to know, because we do have crazy busy lives. And so when I do have the opportunity to go on a date with somebody, I want it to be somebody who's really great and who I think would be great. And sometimes that can get discouraging when I'm matching with guys who either seem really great at first, and then after a couple of days they ghost you, or they live really far away and they're like, oh, this isn't going to work out. Or, I meet them and then it's not what I thought it was going to be. So I would say it's caused me to have to do a lot of my own work and be comfortable with being on my own, even though I have another partner. Nate is amazing and he's supportive, but he's also one person. And so I have to realize that instead of trying to get my needs met from so many other people, it's really about making sure that I have my own back and I am comfortable with being just on my own, in my own space. And I know that sounds weird when you're married to somebody and you feel like, well, but you're not alone. You have one partner. That's true. Absolutely. Yes. But again, because of how I'm wired, it feels a little unbalanced.
And I think the last thing for me that I have learned, or try to support Courtney, is to encourage her to go on dates and to have fun and to be a little more spontaneous, which again is hard when you're balancing so many schedules.
Yeah.
And so the idea is that like I'm there for her, and if she's like, hey, I just started talking with somebody, can I run and do a quick coffee date, for example, tomorrow, let's say the weekend's coming up, tomorrow morning, wherever it may be, and to really let her, that's not the right word, but I say, encourage her to go do that thing. You know what I mean? Because I think sometimes she's hesitant to not disrupt our schedule, our lives, whatever it may be, especially in a sort of spontaneous thing. Like we tend to plan fairly well. Courtney tends to plan. And so helping her to be a little more spontaneous, a little more sort of having fun with the whole process, which I think for me has been a very important thing. Of sort of being that cheerleader. I may not be 100% and, I may still have my own sort of, again, feelings, but to really be the encourager and the cheerleader for Courtney to go out there and do fun things and have fun with the process. So.
Yeah, because at first you were not like that.
No.
We needed like days in advance notice. And so to
email, some papers to discuss it a little more. Yes.
Contracts. No, we're just kidding about that part. But no, he definitely needed like a heads up of like to like get in the right space to be able to even entertain the idea. But I don't know, a few weeks ago, I was like, hey, this guy's coming in like through town. Like, do you care if like tonight, like in 4 or 5 hours, I could just meet him for like coffee or a drink or whatever? And he was like, yeah, you should totally go. And I was like, oh my gosh. Thank you, because it has taken a really long time for us to be here in that. And I'm so proud of the work that Nate has done to get there. And also, I'm working on being able to give myself permission to ask for that, because I have felt guilty disrupting or changing plans last minute. And I never want him to feel like I don't value his time or him in general.
Yep. And so again, that's why we're sharing our journey for you. So hopefully you can learn more. If you're interested in continuing on with this journey with us, please subscribe and comments below, and we'll work on those as well. So we thank you for watching today. As we always say to each other,
Can't stop, won't stop.
Thanks again. Have a great day.